evening, and thank you for tuning in to another week with Fathers Who Care. As always, it's been a stone blast to bring to you each week information and individuals who have been actively involved in doing some of the good work on the west side of Chicago. Obviously, you know, we use this show occasionally to talk about people you should know. And so we're going to do it again tonight. We're going to do it again tonight with some, introduce to some and present to others, none other than our aldermen and committeemen of the 28th Ward, none other than Jason Irvin. But before I bring our aldermen and committeemen up, I want to tell you all who may be watching that we want to thank all of you who have made that long 35-year journey with us as we did the ups and downs, the ins and outs with CAN TV. CAN TV has been struggling and has been making its way from Green Street to Wood Streets, and now they've come to this place now, and it's a beautiful edifice. It's a beautiful place where folks can come and be empowered. So we want to thank CAN TV and all of you for all the time and all the energy and all the resources, aldermen, even all the work you've done to make this place what it is here today, from all those years from back in when we was trying to find parks.
Actually, they were here.
Right.
So this, the CAN TV facility is in the 28th Ward.
Right.
It is actually a welcomed and a great addition to our community. It's over in the south end of the Illinois Medical District, but again, it's providing a vital and useful service to residents, not throughout the city of Chicago through their work with CAN TV. So this is a great thing that's happening. I'm glad to see that you all are continuing to be on every week. Without a doubt, I knew if I wasn't here, I knew you still going on. So
absolutely,
but so much go on.
It will go on, but we're glad you're here, and we want to just reach out and just say thank you to those who labored so hard to make it happen. And we thank you all for all the work. Thank you, aldermen, for all that you've done. Thank you all the people who have called in all of these 35 years, and thank you for just committing yourselves on behalf of Fathers Who Care, the West Side Community Stakeholders, the West Garfield Park Youth Council, and so many others. Thank you, and keep on supporting those shows, and we appreciate you. So let's get to the show. We got our guests, of course, as I shared with you earlier, our aldermen and committeemen, none other than Alderman Jason Irvin, a brand new dad. The daughter about 1 now, right?
Daughter's almost 2.
Almost 2, right? And I see the posts all the time, so I know you enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right. I think y'all call her Miss Geneva now.
That's Miss Geneva, right? Miss Geneva. She's,
hey man, that's a blessing, brother.
She'll be 2 in May.
Yeah.
Her birthday's right after mine in May.
Don't you love it?
Oh, without question, wouldn't change anything for the world.
I know you wouldn't. So. But Alderman, what we want to do tonight, time really flies when you're having fun and you're doing good work. But we want to kind of use this show tonight to kind of hopefully twofold. One, we want to use the show to talk about the state of the west side of Chicago, particularly the 28th Ward, and we're going to talk in particularly about loitering, deleterious impact sites, and we're going to talk about affordable housing. But then we want to move a little further because it is that year where we should be talking about how can we engage, enlighten, and empower our people. And inform them and make sure they understand the power of the vote.
Yes.
And how important it is to vote and what people have gone through to vote. I don't knock, whatever you all do out there, how you spend your money, how you spend your time, but most importantly, don't complain if you don't vote.
That's true.
Don't complain if you don't vote. And happy Black History Month to all of you. I see you went out there and put in $404 million in 1 week.
Well, we do what we have to do. So we got a lot of great things going on in our community. One thing we talk about is our affordable housing initiative. Through an ordinance that myself, Alderman Walter Burnett, and Alderman Moreno, that would bring more affordable housing to areas such as East and West Garfield Park.
Okay.
We're working currently. There's a lot of development going on in the downtown, near West Side, in that area. And so we're telling those developers that, you can do development there, but we also need you to invest in some of our other communities.
Absolutely.
So right now we're looking at 2-3 projects that will generate upwards to 100 new units of affordable housing in East and West Garfield Park,
which is extremely needed.
Yes, and so we're looking to bring not only rental units but also home ownership. I think home ownership is a viable way to help build and rebuild a community. So we're going to be looking for those new condominium owners, those new single family owners, those folks that want to buy a two flat and use some of the rent to pay the mortgage. So we're looking for those
So
folks.
we're talking affordable housing now,
yes,
right?
we're talking affordable housing. The numbers in our area based on the area median income,
Which is about,
for the city.
about what, 19 to 22,000, 19 to 24,000?
So the area median is dependent upon what percentage it is at. So 60% of AMI right now for a family of four is about $45,000.
Okay, for a family of four.
So right, it's scaled based on from 1 to 8.
Okay.
It scales the family.
Okay.
You know, you get more income with more people. So we want to create affordable units of housing. We just finished and opened a set over near Central Park and Fifth Avenue, right there at St. Louis.
Oh yes, that's 100.
39.
How many units was over there? You talking about Edie's Church?
That's correct.
Right.
The Harvest Homes development.
Harvest Homes.
39 new units of affordable housing, and that was actually for low income and affordable housing. We're in the process working with CHA of renovating our senior buildings. We just opened a new senior building that was renovated right at 3916 West Washington.
Okay.
Beautiful building that our seniors are now able to enjoy. That building had been offline for 5 years.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And
now,
got a big, nice light in front of it,
exactly.
too.
So that is what we're working toward and what we want to do
Okay.
is number one, maintain folks that are in our community and also create housing opportunities for those that would like to move to our community.
All right, thank you, Alderman. I want to say we had Leroy, you know Leroy?
Leroy, which Leroy?
Leroy Felton.
Oh, okay. Yes.
He just called in, tuned in on,
on
live.
Facebook Live.
Yeah, and he said hello to both of us.
Okay.
Then we got Vernon and we got Mickey Reynolds. And so it's
Okay.
good. Thank all of you guys. Look, call us in at 312-738-1060, 312-738-1060. We have Alderman Irvin this evening, and we're going to be talking about loitering, affordable housing. You need to vote, the right to vote. Why aren't you voting? And what can we do to empower our young folks? Remember, our young folks can't be what they can't see, and we need to be the example in our young folks' lives. Let's get the caller. Caller, you on there. Your comment or question, please. No? Okay, it must be a mistake. So call us back again. Next time, stay on the line. So, Alderman, let's get back to talking. Now, you were talking about the affordable housing, but let's go back. I want to ask you a simple question before we go so deep into the city. Affordable housing, voting. What's the budget for the city?
Depending on what you're looking at, when you total everything that happens with the city, from the airports to the water department to our general governmental expenditures, we're almost a $9 billion enterprise. $9 billion altogether. The services that the average citizen sees is done out of our general revenue fund, and that's about $4 to $5 billion. And then there are the other ancillary funds between TIF and our enterprise funds for the airport and the water department generate another $4 or $5 billion.
So it's about $9 billion. How many people in the city of Chicago? 2.5, 3 million?
About 2.5 million people.
2.5
million.
Okay.
And that number has had some decreases in it. We lost population.
Yeah, it used to be like 3 million, 3.5.
Right, we've lost population, but we're gonna work with what we had. So,
right.
Bottom line.
So let's get back to it. So I want to talk to you specifically about your passion. We got a caller. Okay, now we're going to take the caller, but when we come back to you, Alderman, I want to talk to you about why are you so passionate about being an Alderman in the 28th Ward. Caller, you on there? Your comment or question, please.
Yes, great show as always. I wanted to ask the Alderman committeeman there, why is it that people have fought hard for the minority to get the majority of the aldermen of color, and yet nothing seems to change? And my question to the good alderman is this: why is it that there are no African American or Hispanic construction companies having the construction companies working with that over $100 million worth of construction? Oh, there's people working for them, but why can't we put our own construction companies in there and get a bigger piece of it?
Thank you so much. Did you hear him?
Yeah, I heard his call. It was centered on the number of construction companies that are black and Latino. Let me just say this. We have seen a flourishing of Latino construction firms that have come on in the last 10 or 15 years. At the same time, we've seen the numbers of African American firms basically somewhat stay flat and in some cases go down. As part of what we do, we definitely continue to advocate for African American and minority-led construction firms to do work in our community. I can give you several of examples of points where in our community work has been done by those minority-led ventures. The key that I think that is right now is that we must continue to build capacity. A lot of our companies that are MBE certified in the city of Chicago are operating in a lot of cases at capacity. And what that does is that even though Tom may have a drywalling service, if Tom's drywalling service isn't certified as an MBE, that person can bid on the job, minority business enterprise.
Right.
That person may bid on the job, but the general contractor will not get credit for Tom's drywalling because they're not certified. So what we've been doing is helping businesses get themselves through the certification process, because you must be certified in order to participate on these contracts where public money is involved, because that is what we want to push the majority firms to use our MBE African American firms throughout our community. Just a case in point, they just broke ground on a new library and housing development in the eastern portion of the ward, which is a CHA development that is a joint venture between a majority firm and an up-and-coming African-American firm.
How about the hatchery?
The hatchery is another one where you have a majority firm and also have other firms that are working with them as well. So again,
Is that in your ward?
the hatchery is not in my ward. It's actually across the street in the 27th ward. But again, Alderman Burnett employs the same types of things because we want to see our communities flourish. We don't want stuff just happening in the community. We want the people in the community to be a part of what's happening.
Okay.
So that is why you tend to see a lot of these joint ventures and a lot of these things, so that we can help stimulate our economy as a community by having people participate on these projects.
Okay, Alderman, I want to talk to you about a few things. I want to talk about your passion that you have for being an alderman, but I also want to talk specifically about loitering, and particularly under the city code 040160, the deleterious impact site. Now, you were extremely involved in cleaning up that Springfield-Madison corridor, that little mini mall strip.
Yes.
What happened to it? They're doing a lot of loitering over there. What can we do?
So now, as you know, as stuff goes, you start out bang, bang, bang. And you start to slip a little bit, and it's incumbent upon us. And just recently, the Commander Johnson and I were talking about Madison and Pulaski, Springfield and Pulaski, Karlov and Keeler and Pulaski, the little 4-block strip.
Absolutely.
In the shopping district along Pulaski, about, we making progress, stuff starting to go back a little bit. Let's get on this now before the weather gets warm.
Absolutely.
So we again will work with those business owners and the mall owner over there and make them tighten up what it is that they're doing.
And the community.
Because they did, they were doing a great job
yes, it was.
on pushing those gentlemen out. And the
was.
other side of it, and I told the commander, say, hey, now that the security company is doing its job, getting those folks out of their property and onto the public way, now you have to do your job as relates to removing these individuals from the public way that are violating the law.
Right.
So we've had that conversation. He and I are going to be doing some community walks along Madison and Pulaski along that corridor to reinforce those ideas and those ideals with the business owners as well as the security companies that service that area.
Well, I have to say it because I kind of watched you and been around you when you was doing it. That work, that was a lot of work that you put in that strip mall. And because the fence is there, security is there, armed security, plus cameras, and plus now it was clean. Folks could actually drive down the street. Right.
I was just there today, and I was talking to the young man and said, hey man, y'all need to tighten this up. And so again, just like anything else, just like your kids, if you don't stay on them, they're gonna start regressing a little bit. So it's time to relight the fire underneath them and keep them get them back in check. So
Thank you, Geraldine, for tuning in. Thank you, Vernon. Let's get back to the question. So I want to talk about pooling the resources and what could happen if we pool resources. If we pooled our resources in the community, how could we empower this community?
anytime one or more people come together, if you got $5 and I got $5 and something costs $7, apart we can't get it. But if we put our $5 together, we can get it and then have a little change left over to work with.
So why should we though? Why should we work together?
Because every other community and every other group of folk work together. And there are certain things that you can accomplish as a team that are more difficult to do when you're by yourself. One of my longtime friends that lives in the community talks about rehabbing buildings, and he says, I got some money, but I don't have enough money.
Right.
But I know somebody else, he got some money. So it's time to put together a conduit to bring people together so that they can pool their resources and do what other communities are coming in our community and doing.
So you think we have another bank in the neighborhood? You think we get another bank?
You know what? I'm not concerned about having a bank in the neighborhood. I'm more concerned about us coming together in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Because if we come together, if you notice now, money is coming from all over the world to Chicago.
Yeah.
It's coming from all over the world.
Absolutely.
So the fact that the local bank is not in our community, people are investing in our community from all over the world.
Yeah.
They see more value in our community in some cases than we see in our community.
Well,
but again, we have to have that conduit. And so as I had a conversation with the gentleman, I said, you know what, you mentioned a great thing, and now I've got my staff working on how do we create a legal entity to help do exactly just that, where you got neighbors that want to pool together,
Absolutely.
where you have small guys that don't have the wherewithal to form LLCs and corporations, but want to contribute and want to see something positive happen in their community. That is what we're going to aim for, and those are the folks that we will be working for and working toward, because I know if we can put 100 people together with $2,500, that's $250,000.
Is that a goal of yours?
That is a goal of mine. And as they say, you need some money to get some money.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't have no money, nobody won't give you any money. But if you got some money, they know they're going to get their money back plus what they need from you.
Could you imagine the impact in the community, particularly in West Garfield Park, East Garfield Park? Could you imagine the impact if we really just did that, pooled those dollars together, and bought some of these properties and renovated these properties?
We could do that.
And we could do
that. So again, I'm working on that, and we're working to do that because I know that there's some people and $2,500 is not a small amount of money, but it's not
but it ain't gonna break
$15,000 to $20,000 where somebody say, hey, you can pull, but the average person, somebody in your family died, y'all will pull together $2,500.
Absolutely.
But we want to try to give people a goal that's reasonable to pull some money together so that we can begin to invest in our community. And then if you're a part of that 100 and you see a building that you've invested in, then you might, let me see what's going on, or let's see if we can keep this block clean. Let's see if we can do something, with that, so that we can manage and watch our investment. And it's really an investment back into our own community.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I'm feverishly working on with my staff, and would like to do that because I know that our folks, we can pull somebody together when we want to.
We just did.
And so we're going to continue to do it.
We just did.
Yeah.
We just put together $404 million in less than a week.
Well, and again,
for a movie.
To watch something. Now, if everybody took that money and put it on something that was going to bring something other than entertainment value. But again, if our community, if we just find, there are people that are willing to do something, they just don't have the vehicle, don't have necessarily know-how, but they are willing to put some capital in and even put some of their sweat equity into this to try to help make our community a better place.
So let me come to this question. It's about that it's election time, right? The primary, right?
Yes.
All right. And so folks are kind of figuring out who's going to represent who. Why is it important for folks to vote? Why is that important?
Well, It's important for people to vote because that is how the community, in some respects, is measured. As a Democratic Ward Committeeman, I sit on the Cook County Central Democratic Committee, and everybody is assigned a number of votes based on the number of votes that are cast in the respective elections. And if you're up there where you got 30, 40,000 votes, folks coming to see you and make sure that you're okay first. But if you're down there with folks casting 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000
Right.
votes, folks ain't necessarily looking to make sure you okay because they feel that what you're doing is not going to affect them.
Right.
Fortunately for us, we sit in the upper third of that in the 28th ward. We sit in the upper third of the number of votes that are cast. So that gives us a little leverage. And people, when I raise my hand at the meeting, they don't just gloss over me. They said, "Oh, Irvin, they cast 12,000 last time. What is it that you have to say? What is it that you're thinking?"
So are you saying that everyone's votes matter?
Without question, everyone votes matter. Let's think about this in the city of Chicago. All of us are roughly divided into wards of 50 with fairly equal population. But you have some wards that will produce 3,000 votes, and you have some wards that will produce 19,000 votes.
Okay.
And so even though roughly the same amount of people, but the voting is different, and guess what? The folks that's putting up to 19,000 are looked at in a little different light than those that's putting up to 2,000 and 3,000. And I'm just being honest with you. And again, we're in that still in that upper portion of those groups of folks. So we work hard to encourage our people to vote. We encourage them to get out and get active. Of course, we try to guide and let you know who the candidates are and who to vote for. I'll be sending out our information in the coming weeks as we go into the primary election in my role as Democratic Committeeman to let the people know who we in the 28th Ward Democratic Organization are supporting and why we feel that these candidates will do the best for our community.
Well, there's been a renaissance or a regentification, should I say, the word I was trying to say, in the particularly in West Garfield Park. That's been a regentification going on, and the property is changing. It's changing over to different people. What can folks in the community do to buy parts of that property to be actively involved in renovating their properties if they don't have the resources to do it? How can they get their dollars up so they can make their properties more presentable so they don't end up losing them?
In some cases, there are city programs that will help our residents, especially our seniors. In some of our affordable programs, we have the roof and porch program, we have the senior home repair program that will help our seniors in some respects to help maintain their properties and do some extensive work. For example, someone needing a new roof or a new porch, that could be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 expenditure that the city will do for free if you meet certain guidelines. And we have to fight. We fighting now for a few people that forgot to dot an I.
Absolutely,
something like that.
Yeah.
So we have to get in and fight for them so that they don't lose their subsidy. But again, and also part of that conversation, and we talk about pooling resources together. We have some of our seniors that are up in age and they don't need a 2-flat anymore. They may want to move to one of our affordable senior buildings or one of our affordable senior units. But yet and still, we want to try to still keep that property in the hands of folks that are in the community.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's important as you pool those resources together. When Ms. Jones wants to move to the senior building, well, let's buy Ms. Jones' 2-flat, renovate it, fix it up, and either rent it or sell it to someone else, maybe an affordable option or someone else that is working. And that's why it's important that we talk about the units and the affordable requirements that we are looking for, because we want to use some of that money to help create additional affordable housing units, as well as stabilize blocks. Vacant properties don't lead to stabilization; it leads to destabilization.
Is the big lot program still on?
The big lot program is still on. However, in the 28th ward, I do not allow non-residents to purchase large lots unless it is the lot directly next to their property. Because what I was seeing was that we had a lot of people that may have owned one lot on the block, and then they want to come and buy another 2 lots, and they're essentially land banking. And what happens is that when they do that, the community loses control of that particular property. So again, if it's next door to what you have, that's fine, like an adjacent neighbor.
Right.
But what is your interest on the lot down the alley and on the other block for
Right.
you? And that's my concern. And
You call it land banking.
Land banking.
We call it land grabbing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
However you put
Let's get that caller, Alderman.
All
Caller,
right.
you on there? Your comment or question?
Hello, Irvin. Mr. Jason Irvin.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing this evening?
All right.
Voting time coming around that corner real quick, huh?
We got about 26 days.
Yeah, March 20th. But early voting is on now.
Early voting, it's
Started on the 21st.
early voting in certain places. It started in your
Yesterday.
local ward. For example, our local early voting polling places at the Malcolm X Westside Learning Center, that will start on March 5th.
Do you cover up out by the 41st ward? Are you on the ballot out here?
No, ma'am. I am not on the ballot myself personally this time around.
Yes.
I am, Alderman, our elections are next year. And for Democratic Ward Committeeman, it will be in 2 years. So I am not on the ballot this time, ma'am.
That's too bad. How you doing this evening, Reverend?
I'm doing my best. And you?
I'm doing pretty darn good. This man next to you look like he know what he's talking about there pretty good.
Yes, he do. Yes, he do.
Yes.
And that's why we're here to empower and enlighten some of you guys that's watching the show tonight.
Going light, my brother, going light. But anyhow, Mr. Jason Irving, what you gonna have in the neighborhoods for the kids? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And
What
actually,
kind of little programs? You gonna have something for our youth?
Okay, so what kind of programs will you be having in the neighborhood for the young folks?
so we've made a couple of strides in programming for our youth. We've just recently invested over $500,000 in our local library at the
Lord.
Legler branch, where our
Praise the
young
Lord.
people will have the opportunities on media. A lot of these young folks are into music
That's
and
good.
doing videos and that type of stuff. So we're
That's
trying to
real
create
good.
more opportunities for our young folks. We're doing the same thing on a new library, again, that
There
we
you
just
go.
broke ground on.
Thank you, Obama.
In the 1300 block of West Taylor Street, looking to give our young people those opportunities. Secondly,
Can you-
working with our park district, we've
Perfect.
created over the years new field houses, recreational
Right.
programs.
And you've
Right.
been doing,
Can
you've
you
been
still hear
canvassing
me?
all of these parks.
Yeah.
You've been visiting these
And
parks.
part, yes, because I want young people, I want
Are you
our
there?
parents to take our young folks to the park. Because again, we shouldn't send our kids to the park. We need to take our kids to
Absolutely.
the park. Because again, if
Hello.
we have our young folk out there with their parents, they feel safer. You would never imagine the number of kids that they say we don't come to the park. Now we're glad that you're here. And I say I want your uncles and your aunts to come with you, your grandmas, come on out here so that you can enjoy this time in the park just like everyone else.
Well,
Hello.
Alderman, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for the call. Alderman, we want to thank you for coming out. You've always been extremely supportive of all the work
Yes.
that we've been doing in the community, particularly at Fathers Who Care, the West Garfield Park Community Stakeholders, the Garfield Park Youth Council, and all of those who've been out in the neighborhood trying to make a difference and trying to bring the people together. We want to tell you all, don't forget to right to vote. Don't forget it's a right to vote. It's your right to vote. You have to vote. And make it educational. Take your children to the poll and let them know the importance of going to the poll to cast that vote. Let this year not just go by. And so we want to thank all of you all that called in. Happy Black History Month. Tell you anything you need to do to empower yourself, but also empower your children. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort. Continue to do the good work. Thank you for going live with us on Gwen and Kim and Jessup and Chris. Thank you all for all the work you're doing. Thank you, Alderman, for the good work that you've been doing in the neighborhood. Tell your wife we say hello. And tell her keep giving it to him. Just tell her keep doing the good work that she's doing downstate. God bless you all. Good night, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much.